You got me going in circles. Do, 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 do. All around and around I go, trying to find you. I need you, baby. I need you, girl. You got me going in circles. Dun, 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 dun. All round and around I go. Woo. The blue Argonite power, baby. Blue Argonite. All right. Start a little different. So before every full moon, there's always a buildup of the energy to when the energy peaks. And so it's normally 4 days before and then 4 days after. So it's a great time to manifest no matter what you think the moon is. The cycle is obviously a cycle of life. It's obviously a cycle that moves and also can remove. So I'll give a little smoke in every direction. And hopefully this will clear whatever direction you're in. to the east, to the north, to the west, to the south. I actually did it wrong. That's south. That's north. No, no. North. South. Yeah, did it wrong. Forgive me. So I am your host, Big Pontiac, and this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Pink Moon edition of the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am also take the responsibility and pleasure of being the holder of the sacred, infinite ball field, creation ball field, and ball game, which was later created by the Hero Twins. And I am also that one and only Galactic Daddy-O sitting on the mountainous galactic patio, welcoming all the chocolate mountaineers from Minnesota to the universe. And we're just drinking water into the copper mug. Still, don't you wish you was me? And the Yukon Wolf XL. I am funky blind now. So what is going on with the world? I think we saw a Cyclops tonight, y'all. Didn't we see a Cyclops tonight? I don't know why they be interviewing dudes and shit be blowed out. Now, I guess I can't see that eye, but it's like, oh, damn, I'm really blind. Woo! I can see nothing there. See across the room, but can't see the screen. What's happening, Lobo? Lobo, it's interesting. Like, look back at old movies, and if ever you come across commercials, you will see where they use USFL film, where they don't want to pay for college and they don't want to pay for NFL film. If you see a movie or commercial, a lot of times you'll see it be USFL. And I wondered for years who owned that. I wondered, did Donald Trump, when the league folded, did he lose the Generals, which I don't think is possible, because I think he would still own that. So I don't know. It's interesting what you had said. Hey, what's up, Derek? Hey, brother PJ. Round and round we go. There you go. Oh, I am smooth. I am smooth. Hey, Valerie, thank you for joining. Lito. Hey, B Brown, what's up? Monte Ray. Hey, did you see the fight? Well, I saw somebody get his jaw blowed out like this, but that wasn't the most catching thing and telling thing. Valerie, right? Valerie said, seeing the clone. Who stops fighting because your mouthpiece goes out? Who stops fighting? Now, I'll say this: under the rules, there's supposed to be a pause when the mouth guard gets out. That's been around for a few years now. But just what surprised me was how fixated he was. And even the announcer said he became fixated. What is the rule? Protect yourself at all times. There was no rationale there to, he got hit. Now, maybe he was stunned, but he went after the mouthpiece, which I thought was odd. But I mean, dude's jaw, he blew dude's stuff out. Oh yeah, they used old USFL footage. I see it on commercials all the time. What's his name? I always catch. Didn't Gary Clark play for the Bandits? You'll see the Bandits, the Tampa Bay Bandits. You'll see them. But yeah, there's a TV commercial where they'll switch to the TV and this old USFL film. But yeah, they've been doing that since for about 40 years. That Minnesota Timberwolves plus 200 cashed in like you thought. And PJ will tell you. PJ texts me. When I saw the Jazz win, I text PJ and I said, PJ, watch the Timberwolves win. He'll tell you. He's like, watch. I said, watch them have the Timberwolves win. And sure enough, the lower seed beat the higher seed. I did not think that was going to apply to the Dallas game. No, not the Dallas game, to the Philadelphia game. I did not think it was going to apply to that. But I saw that. I was like, the Timberwolves, I was pretty sure, and PJ can tell you, I was like, yeah, it looks like it's going to be their day today. I don't think they're going to win Tuesday. I would be surprised if they won Tuesday. I just don't think. But, and this is the only thing that the way they've been doing Edwards is Edwards dominates or Edwards will get 8 points in the game. Now, consistently, he's been averaging 20-something, but there's games where they have him like 8, 10 points. He might dish more. Never an outstanding rebounder. I mean, just playing 2, playing 3. Never a great rebounder, but it's I don't know. I hope not. I hope he can bring it every game, because if he can bring it every game, that would be cool. What am I seeing here? Oh, I'm seeing the Viking. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm seeing the Viking. So yeah, it was a good game. I think somebody had mentioned to Lobo earlier that they had turned the magnets on for Towns, and that's been all season. That's nothing new today. They've been turning on the magnets for Towns. Okay. They've been turning that on for him all year. So don't be surprised you see him. Did anybody notice when he shoots a hard layup, driving layup? But you notice I'll say this. He did less of them driving type of layups today where he falls out of bounds. I only saw one. And I watched most of the game. I had a couple little running around, and I got my dates mixed up. So I left the house for nothing. But that's what I noticed. I noticed that early in the game, they'll turn it on for me. But when he hits, that's almost every game when Towns hits a few. They turn on the magnets for him. So wasn't surprised. You see that Towns dunk got. I saw the Towns dunk. Oh yeah. He had a hard dunk. He did. I saw that. I saw the hard dunk. Hey, researcher, nice to thank you for joining. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, spot on. Yep. B Brown. But I'm glad you made some money. Yep. That was weird. He went right to the mouthpiece mid-fight. He said he heard the ref stop the fight, but stop. No, he didn't. The ref was like back here to his left. And he kind of came in right before dude popped him, because he took a couple good ones. But I thought that was weird too, because it's protect yourself at all times. When don't you protect yourself? When don't you throw the guard up? You know. The Towns dunk was nice. Hey, Lorenzo, thank you for joining. So yeah, the Towns dunk was nice. Morant had a couple nice dunks. That they said he went left-handed, but he didn't, because when they first showed it, I was like, wow, he dribbled left-handed and then poked on everybody left-handed, but he dunked it two-handed. But he had some nice dunks. But he's going to eventually suffer a lot of what happens to Steph. I mean, again, his size. We saw the same thing happen to Iverson. I would say the only person that really avoided that for a long time was Nate Archibald. He really kind of avoided that for a long time, but eventually, he ended up leaving. I don't know if they had moved to Sacramento yet. I think he was still in Kansas City when he left and when he went to Boston and won the championship that really Pete Maravich could have won too. Pete walked away from that team, but his knee was messed up too. So, but yeah. So, yeah. So it was some good games. I thought the Dallas game was predictable. I thought that game was predictable for the Jazz. because they're really a harder matchup for them. But it was boring. The Sixers game was boring. The last game that was just on was a blowout too. That game was boring. Oh, but let me say, I've been telling y'all, they're showing I saw more Wilt Chamberlain stats. What, 41 rebounds in a playoff game? Still a record. 41 rebounds in a playoff game. Dudes have played 2-3 games and not have 41 rebounds. He had 41 rebounds in a playoff game. Cat Edwards, so nice. But yeah, and I'm telling you, Vanderbilt too. But Vanderbilt, and I saw that they gave Vanderbilt a commercial because they changed the commercial and they showed it on national TV, which surprised me. They showed, now maybe sometimes they can local can get that in, but it was on the national channel. So I think they showed their commercial on, I think it's the gambling site. I think it's one of the gambling sites but they had Vanderbilt. But Vanderbilt is like Rodman. He is really like Rodman. He'll stand in front of most people, long arms, good rebounder, good shot blocker. And Russell is a big cat. That's what people forget. Russell's what, 6'7", 6'8". He's not no little dude. And then Pat Bev is in everybody's face. But yeah, that one dunk to the middle. But that was a play that I looked at. So Morant shook. He spun off Beverly, and he went to the lane. And Cat Edwards let him. This playoff basketball. This is playoff basketball, so you're supposed to foul him. I mean, really, you're supposed to foul him. Supposed to hard foul him. And they both kind of whiffed. It was like both of them passed each other. Like Towns went, and then they was both late, and they let him dunk the ball. I mean, it was obvious where they let him dunk the ball, but it's playoffs, and you're supposed to foul him, and that's how you neutralize a dude like him. Like when I was always play with dudes, even when I was in my 30s, late 20s, I would even say my late 20s, I started recognizing, because even then, I had lost I was still only jumping about 30 inches, 30-inch vertical by the time, well, I was probably 34 when I had my knee surgery and doing rehab. Yeah, I guess then. But hurt my knee before, probably maybe 30. So I could still jump. Couldn't really dunk, but enough to get a good layup. But I started noticing dudes that could out jump me that I would just body them and box them out. And a lot of them dudes that I played against that was really good jumpers. Like I watch a dude do the dunk contest and then the tournament would start. And I would just laugh because a lot of them dudes couldn't really play. It was like one dude, and may he rest in peace, Devin Stevenson. This dude's about my height, but he probably had 40-something vertical. I mean, really, if you did not box him out on the shot, he's going to dunk it over everybody. He was just going to, but what I learned about him is he didn't like the contact. And so when he was in front of me and the ball went up, I would just bump him, hit him with a forearm, and box him out every time. And it made him, and he wasn't a guy, he really had to be in the flow. He really wasn't going to break nobody down. I mean, his best thing was catch and could shoot over everybody. But if he didn't really get it like that and wasn't playing with dudes that were getting like that, and this young brother, he's not with us. And this young brother, Devin got caught with Kane, and while he was out on bail, he killed himself. Yeah. But that's how I used to check people. But yeah, rest in peace, Devin. Yep, and Zion reminds me of Lawrence Taylor. Oh, thank you, Mr. Lamborghini, for the cash app. Thank you so much. Zion reminds me of Lawrence Taylor somewhat. But thank you. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining me, Mr. Lamborghini, and thank you for the nice gift. I appreciate it. Hard hitting. But that's what we that's just was what I would do with people. But that's how they should have done Morant, is really be more physical. The playoffs are supposed to be more physical. I know the game's not as physical. That's why they was talking about who could Steph be effective during the hand check era? I mean, his dad was a very limited player. His dad would be in there for no defense. Dale was not known to guard anybody, no defense at all. He was a spot-up shooter, and that's pretty much what his game was. He was more of a 2. He wasn't even really a 1. So he was a spot-up shooter, got a spotted, catch and shoot, spot-up guy. but not anybody that's going to really break you down. Not handling the ball a lot. And Steph throws the ball away a lot. I kind of thought it was smart that they didn't play him at first. But he seems to not take the beating as well. And Dewan B, he said something that was interesting. He said that like Magic, Jordan, Kobe would get better as the playoff comes, and you have some players that kind of falter. And Steph is one of them dudes that ain't as really strong at the end of the season. Again, the size makes a big difference. But they said he sleeps in one of them where he has one of them the kind of chambers where you can get in the water and it shoots the sounds and stuff up to you. I forget what they call that thing, anatomic chambers, some shit like that. If you haven't already, can you please take a moment? Oh, thank you, Valerie. That's kind of you. Yeah, if you guys want to like the video, that's cool. I'd appreciate it. Hyperbonic chamber. Yeah, hyperbonic chamber. Yeah, I guess he has one of those, and I guess my homeboy, was it Green? I guess he had one too. But that's one beautiful thing about like even the stuff I use. Treatment and the advancements in treatment are really amazing. I played games where I really kind of wrecked my ankle, and then I put a copper and magnets on my ankle, and a lot of the inflammation would be out, and I would think I couldn't even play the next day. I mean, I really wouldn't think I would be able to play, and was able to play, and it didn't hurt it anymore. Whoops. Spence did show some rust, even though he had eye looking like a pumpkin. Oh my goodness, he was all. I mean, it was like, let me see, it was like this. Looking like a pumpkin, but the ref saved him in the 6th round, and that changed the outcome of that bout. He got hit with a dirty punch too, though. 6th round, he got hit with it. He got stunned, but it was technically well. But we saw what was the young boy? That's the Mexican fighter that Money Mayweather beat. It was a very similar ploy. But dude wasn't looking, and you're supposed to protect yourself at all times. T.O. used one of those chambers. T.O. used them as well. Okay, yeah. And it's just the advancements in treatment that it's easier to be an athlete. It's the shoes are 1,000 times better. You look at cats like Connie Hawkins only played in Chucks his whole life. His whole life playing outdoors, indoors, he only played with Chucks. Maybe his last season, I think, was with Atlanta. He might have played with some Alls or some Adidas, but he played with Chucks almost his whole career. And do you know playing with Chucks outdoor, what that does to your legs? I mean, Chuck Taylor's literally ruined my shins. I played him in the 10th grade and it ruined my shins. Thank you, B. Brown. Thank you. Thank you. That is so kind of you. Thank you so much for the cash app. So treatment is better, but yeah, you're supposed to protect yourself at all times. I'm trying to talk about multiple things, but you're actually supposed to protect yourself at all times. That is part of it, and he didn't. But what made him focus? You're controlling the fight. The 5th round was a good fight, a good round too. But you're controlling the fight, and you get hit with up close. You get hit, and sometimes it makes you unclench. You kind of clenching down on your mouthpiece. A lot of dudes, as you kind of clench, and as he got hit, he kind of relaxed, and that shit popped out his mouth, and he just didn't protect himself, and you're supposed to. Yeah, he did. Oh, yeah. Oh, did you guys? Yeah, Lobo did a great breakdown. Hey, Hard Hitting, thank you for joining me. Yeah, love just is for real. Hey, what was interesting, Lobo, did you see the way those little drones with the little cameras was buzzing around? That was kind of cool. And I guess I'll get into the USFL game because I watched more of that. I quit watching the last game. I quit watching the Denver game. That game was a blowout, so I quit watching that game. I started watching the football game. The Golden State game. I mostly watched the football game. I was impressed. You could see some rust. I was surprised. The one thing that surprised me is normally defensive. It's easier to teach defense and defensive concepts compared to offense. Like if you listen to any of the plays, Now, if you played enough levels, you understand certain the thing that changes is the verbiage. Different teams have different verbiage. I'm umming too much. Well, with that said, I was surprised that the offenses tended to be ahead of the defense. That's what I thought, and I thought that was odd that the offenses, because it's usually the opposite. Defense tend to catch on quicker than offenses. So that was the one thing that I thought was odd. But the little cameras was some cool shit. Now, I still don't understand how you call the offensive play. Now, in the NFL, they doing like this. They lip readers. What stops the other team? Because the other teams tend to have the monitors on. So I don't understand that. Like the other teams just can't hear nothing. That doesn't make sense to me. Why would the play calls be live? That shows more scripted. I mean, if the NFL goes like this, and maybe the NFL, that's acting too. That could be acting. That could be definitely acting with the NFL doing this. But I thought that was odd. That they would call the plays. But the little drones was some cool shit. That was cool. The little drones flying around, that was real cool. Could you see the drone goes crazy? The drone starts attacking people in the helmets, like that movie, The Birds. The drones just start attacking the players. That'd be some funny shit. I would laugh at that. Lorenzo said, I fell asleep to watch the USFL. I had to watch the highlights. Oh shit! It's basketball all day, but it's 3 football games on tomorrow. It's 4 basketball games on. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you. Yeah, that is my Cash App too. Thank you, Valerie. The USFL will be interesting to see develop week to week. Yeah. I thought both teams, this one thing I like, both teams used 2 quarterbacks and it worked. I like the way, like when one quarterback had momentum, they were going with it. But if they put a package in that the other quarterback was better than, they put the other quarterback in. I thought at the end, Perez had a stronger arm than the quarterback that the Generals kept in. And dude had them beat. They went straight bomb at the end of the play because the Birmingham scored. The quarterback, he did a read. Well, he didn't do a read. He was doing play action. Well, he was doing rollout, and they was running a pick, and the dude kind of got picked off. So, but they sprinted right. He ran a rollout. Yeah, rollout to his right. Nothing was there. So then he cut back, and he got the touchdown. And then the kicks, the Notre Dame, they can do 3 points, 4 points. The Notre Dame kicker, the Notre Dame soccer player. The dude kicked for Birmingham was a soccer player, and he went 4 for 4 on his extra point. So that was interesting. But you can see them highlighting one player. One player was the defensive player of the game was a guy that maybe he was a unanimous All-American, so it didn't tell what team. I mean, there's, I think, 3 teams of All-American you can be. I think it's first, second, and third team All-American. But he was unanimous All-American, which makes you think first team. But, and as I commented with Lobo, they've been wanting another league for the last 3 years. There's been other leagues for the last 3 years. Remember, was it 2 years ago that the league had to quit, but somebody paid in and paid the salaries to the next 2 or 3 games? So, but I was impressed. I'll watch back and forth. If the games are blowouts, I'll watch the football games. So people want football. Yep, people want football. If I was Djokovic, I would feel some type of way unless it's all part of the script. But Jamal Murray was doing through the legs windmill 3 months ago, and he's still not ready. Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, hard hitting. Same thing with Zion. Yep. Thank you, Valerie. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it was an AAF and then the XFL. Exactly. Yeah. So, but people like King Kane, thank you for joining. What's your thoughts on Nets versus Celtics and Zion? It's a pretty good matchup for them. It really is. Tatum against Kyrie and Tatum against Durant. I think I think Boston is a little deeper. The Nets don't tend to go as deep. Some of the players like Mr. Chokum, what was the dude's name that choked last year? The shooter for the Nets ain't played all year. Him either. I know a lot of people want to see the Nets in the finals, but I just don't think they're going to let them do it. I don't think they're going to let them do it. I still really think it's going to be the Oscar Robertson, and I cut myself off earlier. It's going to be the Oscar Robertson for Harden. Harden wearing number one. That's what I still see that. Now, as far as who will advance, Boston being a higher seed, could this be the year that they want to put them in the finals or the Eastern Conference Finals? I could see that. I could see them trying to build Boston, and again, Boston is going to be a staple every few years. Could it be a shaming for Durant and Kyrie? Very well could be. Very well could be. So it should be interesting to see how they have it scripted. But looking for it, I'm saying that they're probably going to put Boston through. That's what I'm guessing. I think they're going to penalize them for the Kyrie thing. So that's why I don't think they're going to move on. I think they're going to be penalized for the Kyrie thing. Now, Zion, I'll say this. In certain scenarios, when you're young and to not have to take that 85-game beating and really, as I've said before, watch him go watch his highlights in high school. He really ran wrong. He was running more like on the outside of his feet. His feet were kind of turned out a little bit. The way he landed wasn't proper. So I don't mind them. It's like, what's his name? Strasburg, the pitcher. Remember that first season they made the playoffs with Washington and they held him back because he twinged his arm a little bit. And these dudes was tired of paying all this money and these young players having to have Tommy John. Remember the Angels pitcher coming from Japan. They played him too much. He ended up having to have Tommy John. So with Zion, I think it's better for caution. So this brother knows how to land because they had to teach him how to run, how to land, how to jump. I mean, he had all these natural things, but he couldn't run right. And you see he can't shoot. I mean, straight up set shot. I mean, Magic had a set shot too. I'll be real about that. Magic's 3-point shot was a set shot. It's just he was 6'9" set shot. So Zion, I mean, they could let him play. They look good. They look good the other night, but the other team is more rested. So the Pelicans are going to have a hard time. They had to play a tough couple days, couple last week or so. They're going to be more, a little more tired, a little more fatigued. And that kind of is funny how that goes. Sometimes, yeah, you'll be more fatigued. NBA players used to playing every other day. So you think Boston can beat the Nets? Yeah, B. Brown. I think Boston can beat the Nets. I think the scenario, the way they're going to do it, I think, yep. Yeah, YouTube it does play a game. Yeah, they take 30%. I thought James Harden was the lovable loser. I don't take that away. That he is the lovable loser, but him changing to number one, it really seems like they're going to me, it seemed like Kareem and Oscar. That's what it looks like. Just the visual looks like that. Oh, and I'm going to share. I don't know if y'all watched before the Golden State game. They were showing, like they showed Dr. J's move. They showed the walk of shame with Oscar Robertson. It's only you barely can catch it because it took me a long time. So I'm going to release that. This is going to be a little quick video, but Oscar Robertson was the first of the walk of shame when I think they catch him when he lost in 74. But I saw one longer where they catch his whole walk of shame gaze, but I caught that a little bit. But I that's the feeling I get seeing that team and the way that team is put together. I get that feeling. So that's and the Wilt thing. And again, you know, they're throwing Wilt out there a lot. You're seeing a lot more everywhere of Wilt. So I think that's what's going to be. But he is the lovable loser. Yeah, it is. They have been prepping Tatum with all those 50-point plus games. Yes, and they like him. And remember, he didn't win at Duke, and a lot of them Duke dudes don't win. They seem to it helped. I'll tell you what. Trey jumped. Let me see. Ty. I think it's Trey that plays for the Timberwolves. Or no, it's Ty that plays for the Timberwolves. He didn't play bad because he's like the sixth man, and I'm impressed. I got Boston as a dark horse to make the finals. Okay. Now I wouldn't be surprised. Because they like when the Lakers is down, you know, they want Boston to be up. I can't wait for the Nets versus Celtics. I'm getting tickets to it. Okay. They're going to do like the Aaron Rodgers going the first round for not getting the jab. That's what I think with the Nets. That's why I think they're going to be punished. Yeah, I think I appreciate that. King Kane, think they'll lose second round to Milwaukee? I don't think so. Are you saying the Nets lose? Because I'm not sure who would be set up in what bracket. I'd have to bring the brackets out. It's the Celtics or Sixers this year. Celtics or Sixers this year would not surprise me. Coming out the East, I got Boston beating the Nets too. Yeah, that's kind of that's just looking at it. So the Celtics want to get back at Kyrie for leaving them, and they were saying that. They were saying that too. They were saying that. The announcers were saying that. Now they can't wait to compete against Kyrie. Hey, Gray, thank you for joining. I got the Nets. I think they're going to shame Boston's head coach. Kyrie got shamed. They can also tease the Phoenix Boston matchup for another round. That's a good point. And I guess I hadn't looked at it from the coaching standpoint. Thank you for bringing that up. Hadn't really looked at it from that standpoint. You think Atlanta can put Miami out? No. And Capella, I don't know if that injury looked shaky, so he should be fine. They're definitely pushing Trey though. He gets the same treatment. As I've said, they made him look horrible in college, but they don't want the dudes who win the college championship to play good pro ball. I mean, it's kind of almost like a curse with some. Magic was one of the few that they didn't. So I think they'll give him a good run. They love Trae Young, though. They really love him, and that's my only concern with Miami. But Miami being ex-champion, I think they should take care of Atlanta. I'm going with Brooklyn versus Miami finals. Went to the finals. Now 22, they'll play, in my opinion. Okay, King K. Okay. Oh, Valerie says she timed him out. Okay. She said she didn't mean to. I could see all those scenarios. I hadn't thought about the coach. Can we look at the coach like Herbert Davis, where they're not going to let Herbert Davis get that, even though he did get a big boost in the arm? Oh, and Duncan Garcia, apparently his father and another close family member, were both sick. And it looks like Duncan is going to be transferring here. He's going to transfer to the University of Minnesota. I don't know if I mentioned that. So that's going to make that team even more decent, and hopefully he can have a decent, because if he had played the whole year, and if Duncan would have played in that championship game, Duncan is 6'11". So they would have had no answer for Duncan. If Duncan would have played in that game, Duncan would have had a big impact, because again, Duncan is 6'11". And going to give you 7 to 10 boards, and it was going to score 10 to 13 points. So that was a blow that hurt them.
That was a blow that hurt them, not having Duncan. Well, it looks like he's coming here. At least that's what they threw an article out there. So that looks like Duncan's going to come here. So that, look forward to probably go see a couple games. And hopefully it'll catapult him into the league. Oh, didn't really have a lot of notes. That was the one notes I did have. That has everything I've kind of covered itself. So, oh, you know, I always do my favorite section. This week is going to be a little different. Normally I do a section called Who Are They Fucking With in Prior Lake? Well, this week it's a little opposite. Who are people in the Prior Lake area fucking with? So we got a 21-year-old man who told authorities he used cocaine, marijuana, alcohol before crashing his Lexus in Burnsville, killing a 16-year-old girl and severely injuring a 16-year-old, killing and severely injuring a 16-year-old girl. Both of whom were passengers, according. So they were passengers in his car. He was charged. Okay, so they're going to charge him with criminal vehicular homicide and criminal vehicular operation resulting in great bodily harm in connection with a crash that killed the young lady and injured another one. Very young students, not going to tell their name. Oh, this is horrible. I'm not going to read none of that. He had they still gave him a $250,000 bail. Police were called to a noise complaint at the Best Western while driving through the parking lot. Officers saw a male with two young females running through the parking lot and then lost sight of them. Officers saw a parked white Lexus with its headlights and taillights on, and the driver leaned back in his seat to try not to be seen. So if you want to hide in the car, you turn your lights on. Or probably when they opened the doors, the lights came on too. But it says the lights were on, headlights and taillights. Yeah, a lot of times you turn the car on, the headlights and the taillights will come on. The driver headed west on Fairview without slowing down for an intersection, and then red lights along Nicollet. When the driver took a sharp turn in the road into Grand at a high rate of speed, the car struck a curb and lost a tire. The officers tried to catch up with the car, but they couldn't. They lost sight of the car as it accelerated down Grand Avenue. They kept looking for the cars. It appeared, let me see. And they soon did, they found a crashed car near a post office parking ramp less than a mile away. It appears as though the driver missed a sharp turn and continued straight off the road, ran into a parking ramp. Wow. Or probably one of the beams. The destruction caused the vehicle appeared consistent with a high-speed impact into a concrete pillar. Whoa. He was taken to the hospital and arrested. He was pinned in the driver's seat and injured, but conscious and alert. And the two in the back were unconscious, probably didn't have their seatbelts on. They had to cut him out of the car with the jaws of life. Strong officer rode in an ambulance. The hospital, he smelled strong odor of alcohol. And they took blood, and that's how they found out what was. And then he told them, apparently. Wow. Now, the second story I've told many times. I've told you my son is my father. My sons are friends with this guy named Oso. And Oso's dad and Oso's brother, as I said before, a young man went to make a weed deal with the young man. So his younger son drove. He probably didn't have a license because I think he was only 15 or 16 when this happened. Maybe 16. He was a juvenile still. So apparently, I'm guessing the father was they let the boy come in the back. Now, I think the boy went in the front and the father was in the back seat. So they show the boy the weed, and the boy doesn't shut the door all the way, and they both notice. And so the boy's plan from jump was to grab the weed and dash out the car. Well, before he could do that, Dad put that work on him, and Dad shot him in the head. And says right here, Prior Lake man gets 28 years in murder of Burnsville teen. Now, this boy's name is, I ain't gonna say his name, but he's only 19 right now, and he's getting 28 years, which really, he'll probably do something like 20. And he won't be terribly old when he gets out, be left in less than almost 50. So he'll still get out. But yeah, pleaded guilty in December to aiding and abetting second-degree murder in the death of a young man. According to court records, the father shot the young man in the back of the head in a vehicle driven by the person that just got 28 years in the Target parking lot. He died. Now the father died. The father died. No, that's not funny. It's something else I'm looking at. So this boy is getting he's getting murder even though he didn't do the murder. But in this state, if you're involved in the murder, you get murdered. So this is a young man, both my sons. Now I'm laughing and I want to show this. And I don't know if I got enough light on, but I want y'all to look at that face there. Does that look like a real face? And he's had all that Cliff palate and everything. But this guy, Texas man, not guilty of murder by reason of mental insanity. So a Texas man who shot and killed another man in a hotel after acting paranoid and claiming the government was coming to get him was found not guilty by reason of mental insanity. It says here that he waived his right to a jury trial in his defense of not guilty and by guilty of insanity. According to the complaint, he was in town with his girlfriend and father. The men had just started working the day before. Both the girlfriend and father told police that the young man had been fine, but then on the 22nd, his behavior changed. He became paranoid. He armed himself with a gun and said the government was coming to get him. When he was arrested, police heard him say that someone in the room in Burnsville had an AR and they had 100 more. Police found no evidence to support his claim. Burnsville police were called after reports of shots fired. And they said there was a man running around on the second floor. Officers found him standing in the hallway on the phone with a handgun near his feet. When officers asked who had been shot, he pointed to Williams and said, "Him right there. I shot him." Wow. He had been shot. He shot the guy 6 times. So they showed it. The hotel showed him running around. So now my final story is Chaska man sentenced to prison. Now this is a trip here to believe this shit right here. Chaska man was sentenced in Carver County District Court more than 7 years. He was to more than 7 years in prison for sexually assaulting a young girl 10 years ago. He had pleaded guilty, felony second degree criminal sexual assault. They were trying to get leniency from the judge. Judge also sentenced him 10 years of supervised probation. Credited him with 311 days of time served with credit for good behavior. He was expected to serve as little over 5 years. Let me tell you the rest. The person is now 18 that he assaulted. She had been approached. She had been sexually assaulted numerous times between 2008 and 10 in Chaska. She would have been between the ages of 8 and 6. And then this is what they said the dude said. Dude told officers during a voluntary statement that he had sexually assaulted a juvenile probably less than 10 times. He's only going to get 5 years for sexually assaulting a little girl between the ages of 6 and 8. Yeah. Yeah. Don't know what to say about that one, y'all. Don't know what to say about that one. Right here. So I'm sorry I haven't been reading. Hey, Brother Edward, thank you for joining. What did I miss? Yeah, the double whammy. Definitely the double whammy. Definitely. Oh, he sounds like a Chester. All the streets you named in this story are the same streets here. Of course, they're all streets. Everybody got an MLK. Chill 16-year-old sound like a clown, bitch. Yeah, why were they all together? Like, why did he run? Why would they take off? They saw the police, they ran across the parking lot, saw the police, and then you still take off in a car? That makes no sense. Sounds made up. Hey, what's up, Brother Edward? What's up? Thank you for joining me. Could be. Now I know yeah, it sounds like a crazy story. Like, why would you take off? That makes no sense. You see the police, you try to hide, because you open the car, you're not thinking right because you're obviously drunk and high, probably paranoid. Why were they running in the first place? Like, were they being chased by somebody? And then you see the police, and then the police drive by you and you still take off knowing you're drunk? That doesn't make sense. That there does not make sense. But oh well. But yeah, that's who they messing with down here. I guess I would just want to say that, I usually do a little extra when we have full moons, but I wonder, like anybody watching, what do you feel? Do you feel anything, or is it just the same, or you can't be sensitive to it? Because I did some mirror work today, and the interesting thing is you kind of have to activate the mirror. Now, I know someone else could look at this same mirror and probably not activate it. And so it can go the same way with these moon energies. I mean, it might not affect you at all. You might not, some of you can manifest without it, and that's great. That's great. It's just something that is annually tied to spirituality. Be the moon, whatever it is tied to, the women's flow every month, the flow of the ocean. If anybody's ever slept on an ocean liner or even a house on the ocean, and even lakes, a lot of times you still hear even lakes still are affected a little bit. Not as much as the ocean, but you still will hear a little bit. So I don't know if anybody else feels it. I tend to, in the summertime, I tend to leave my windows open regardless, just kind of to let the sun get in the house, and from the house being closed up, it's winter's so cold. And today wasn't warm. Today was sunny, but it was still like 38, 39. Wasn't warm. We're supposed to get snow or rain again tomorrow. It is supposed to be in the 50s or 60s this time of year. And right now I don't have my heat on, but damn if I didn't need it last night. It got down into 20s again. So this kind of takes away some of our summer where it makes winter go longer. And that is kind of that we get only 4 months or 5 months of nice weather. A lot of people say we get 9 months of bad weather. Bernetta, what's happening? She says, I feel strong energy. Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. But I just was seeing this, because like in this ring, I can kind of activate this ring. The garnet is so clear that I can kind of was just playing with it to see if I could activate it. And it started activating. So I was like, oh, let me get the mirror out, because I just haven't done a lot of mirror work in the last few years. Just don't do a whole lot of it. So I've got to get in the habit of it. And as I've said before, the mirrors were once looked at when you see the old Disney. And so mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest, where the mirror talks back to you. And it had me thinking, I talk a lot about like seeing the glass silver mirrors, because that's most mirrors we look at are silver mirrors. Silver mirrors. Silver was one of the first ingredients they would help with the sand to make the mirrors, silver mirrors. And I also often talk about how 2D is the mirror world, but I find when you gaze into black mirrors, it's not the same thing. It's not really the same thing. Actually, I always talk about being able to tap into the omen energy. Like when I got my very first omen head, how excited I was that you could buy this kind of stuff and bring it into your home and use these kind of energies. I remember a few days before, and I don't know if it was the mirror I sent Crazy Sarge or the mirror I sent my brother. I don't know which mirror, but one of those two, I guess they're 3-inch mirrors, about so big. One of them, the omen came through, like 3 heads came through, just gazing into it. And today was interesting because what I see, and I should have brought the plastic mirror just to kind of show you, but it's funny how you almost see a little ripple in the mirror. Like when a lot of times when the mirror activates, it's a little ripple in it. And I just wonder how many people could make it do that. Just make it, you see a change in it. You actually see a change in it. It just kind of, it made me laugh because it's like some crystals, when you first pick them up, they really boom, especially if you haven't picked them up in a while. When you meditate, almost as soon as you close your eyes, they activate. Some others take a little time, and you might have to work with them a few times. So I know I kind of had to activate the mirror, but it was funny to see that ripple in the mirror, and I was like, wow, this is a kind of a little bit of a change of a space time. What are your thoughts on sleeping with meditation music playing? Well, it was like when I went to A&T, almost everyone slept with the radio on. We had a melanated station. We had a couple of them. The college had its own station. On weekends, the college station would stay up almost all night. I think Friday night, Saturday night, I think the college station, normally it would go off like 5 in the afternoon, 6 in the afternoon. I think on the weekends it might have played, but it was another station that stayed on all night. And even before I had learned of MK Ultra, I had studied a little bit on how they could brainwash you through radios, and especially give you suggestions while you're asleep. And so I ran into that in high school, and I was like, yeah, I'll never sleep with a radio on. Now, as I said, depending on the source of where you get this from, I've told you before, and what is her name? I was trying to tell the awakened one, the witch's name, and I couldn't remember her name. And I think she came because I remember like she has a 3 name, but her name came to me. And after I turned the witch down, not gonna marry her, she sent 2 people through a singing bowl that I got off the phone, a singing bowl app. And I'm sitting there just digging the singing bowls going, and then here comes our little goofies in here, and I had to laser blast them back up out of my ethers. So saying that, I say that is be very careful, because work with it a few times before you sleep with it all night to make sure you're not getting any of that. And once you're sure that it's just clean music and you don't feel any suggestion, it could be comforting, especially like sleeping with fans. A lot of people sleep with a fan. They like the sound of the fan. So long as it's clean and you make sure that it's clean, yeah, it's okay. But if you start getting, like, even if you just lay there and just strange thoughts start coming in, I'd be wary of that, and then try to find one that you can, the longer you listen to it, you don't feel anything from it. It's just what it's supposed to be. Because sometimes some of these things ain't what they're supposed to be. So not bad. There's a local radio station here in Tennessee that blatantly admits to emitting satanic frequencies. Yeah, absolutely. So you have to be kind of careful with that kind of thing and practice with it before you try it. But once you try it, it can be okay. Ocean sounds, a lot of times, again, it's not a bad. I tend to meditate with, because I'm a wind, kind of a wind, so I always meditate with rain or the waves. a lot of rain, waves, the blowing of snow, like the sounds of a snowstorm. So if you sleep with a TV or radio on, your brain receptions don't shut down. That's how a lot of people get to sleep. But I know that's how a lot of people, oh yeah. It's the amount of people that want to sleep with TVs. I don't even have a TV in my bedroom. We got TVs out in the garage, but I don't even have one in my bedroom. The only electronic I really have in my bedroom is the phone and the phone charger. I just don't want that in my bedroom. I kind of got that from my mother a little bit. And I'll admit it's easy to fall asleep, like watch TV and then turn the TV off and go to sleep. I find that an easy way to go to sleep. But when you have Wi-Fi, you have Bluetooth, waves are coming through the whole place. And my Shugite works hard enough to protect me. If I put a TV in my room, it would have to work even that much harder. So if you do have it, you have access to Shugite, put some of that in front of that TV if you got it in your bedroom. Because I understand, a lot of people like sleeping with the white noise, but suggestions and I don't want to get too deep with it, but it's like the tech god is in this stuff. The tech god is in this stuff. So you go to sleep. And what was it? They do shows they've done shows that kind of show you, because they're like, oh, look, I think they're asleep. So the TV show would stop and be some other shit. It's like they was doing the TV show and the people fall asleep, and then the TV show would change into something else. And so if there is other tones that you can only perceive when you're asleep, they can do that to you too. So TV, I wouldn't sleep with the TV on. Now I've taken naps and the TV's on in my living room. I've been guilty of that. But I haven't had a TV in my bedroom in 6 years. Yeah, so, and I don't plan on putting one. My phone charging is the only electronic in my room. Sometimes my JBL speakers in there too, because part of my ritual is also to let Jimi Hendrix have a little music. I know I have an altar, and Jimmy is inside my cave, and I give him gifts of tobacco. And when I put my music in the room, I put it next to my altar because Jimi Hendrix on there. So it's good to, if you're trying to kind of tap into something, it's good to kind of, like when my daughter doesn't drink little bottles of drinks, I put them on the altar. I have like water because but I've had like full bottles of water that, like Hathora has her own bottle in front of him. He has his own bottle, and I put money under him too. So it's how much you want to get into it. But so yeah, I kind of stay away from that kind of thing. The Mac Files, Motivation Music is a very great YouTube channel. Love motivation meditation through the soothing and high vibrational meditation music. Great to meditate. I think I have him too. Our TV phones, that's Black Mirror equals that's Black Mirror. That's a good point. That is a good point, hard hitting. I don't know if I had to smoke so much, but I was staring at the TV one day and felt like I was seeing beings looking at me. There's a couple, I'm trying to think of the show, because Peel does the show. What's that show called? That show had some shows sort of like that, but you've seen past shows. And there is, again, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, the tech god. Tech god is in that stuff. So you're open to suggestions. That's how they say they can hypnotize people, through suggestions. TV and radio could hypnotize you. They really can. That's why certain beats, as strong as everybody is, certain beats, hey baby, I mean, it's catchy, these catchy things that, it's like that Drake song, I try not to listen to that song. Girls Like Girls, where I'm from. I mean, I try not to listen to that. You can see it's obviously low vibrational music. Not to say all Drake's music is, but that song is particular. Cardi B, I try not to listen to her stuff because it'll have you moving, but the vibration is just, it's lower vibrational music. And not saying all rap is, but very. Now, I just saw this. Gunna was on Saturday Night Live last weekend. His first song wasn't Pushing P. I thought that was very odd. I didn't even know he did it because I turned it. I turned it and was starting to get ready to do the show last Saturday, so I quit watching it. But I thought that was very odd. He did another song because people tend not to watch the second performance. People tend to only watch the first performance. So I thought that was, I was like, they released it today. And I'm like, when did he do this? I was like, oh, the second performance, which I rarely ever watch because it's after Saturday Night Live does the news little thing, that the rest of the show is kind of not as, they do a better effort in the first part of the show than they do the second part. The second part, and the ratings show that people kind of drop off after Weekend Update. People historically drop off. So, whoops. Let's see, we go. Flagged and banned the Love Motives meditation channel by Nonsense Reasons, I guess because of his high vibrational enlightenment tunes. I'll tell you what I see too is I have to get the name of the one I listen to, but he gets, like, he'll go live and he gets trolled hard going live. And it's like this dude, all this dude is playing just high vibrational music and people are trolling him. I don't get that. No words, and I believe the Niners was coming out to Kodak Black. Can't believe the Niners were coming out to Kodak Black, especially the part I knew the perk was fake, but I still ate it because I am Gremlin. Oh, yes, yes. Yeah, I caught that line too. I knew it was fake because I'm a gremlin. And the Drake song with Jay-Z where he's saying there's a lot of 42s on this plane. Yeah, exactly. And Drake calling his liquor 42. I mean, this is all a mocking. It's a mocking to us. So you have to be like, what do you feed your spirit? What do you feed your soul? I mean, you feed this. So what are you feeding it? And you have to understand that that's a part too. You want to feed things that keep you in a high vibration. As the witch says, love her above. She's right with that. Even though she tries to get love at all cost, but she just really want motherfuckers to bow down to her is really what she tried to do. She tried to get people to bow down, but she's right about that. Is you try to keep your vibration, because what her thing is, the way she puts it is, it's easier to manifest if you can keep the love vibration high. And that's somewhat true. I say somewhat. Because if you go into what Tim Freet says about lucid living means you love life. And he has a saying, and it's like, life is good because it is life. Like, even with life, I'll say a little bit of, and he's a Gnostic too, but like a lot of what the Gnostic teaches, even when life is bad, it's good because it's life. Even when a man goes to prison for life, he still is alive because the alternative is to be killed. So that's kind of their thing, is even if you're in prison, you're still alive in prison. So, oh, and Dane Calloway, check out, he found some show from England that was breaking down slavery. So I'll say a little bit, but Dane's show was showing how they was interviewing a slave, and the slave was in the slave selling house. And the slave was like in good mood, shining his shoes, putting his best clothes on. He's like, aren't you terrified that you're going to be, sold as property? He's like, I'm about to get me a new employer. He said, who's the slave? He said, I see a lot of them free people out there. They don't, they have to take care of themselves. They have to feed themselves, and they have to work for somebody else. He said, I am clothed. My health care is covered. And they're like, well, haven't you ever been beaten as a slave? He said, man, I cost $2,000. Why would they damage something that costs $2,000? Because if he tries to get me with another employer, I'm worth less if you do that to me. And it was an interesting breakdown, the way they put that. And he looked at it, he was talking about the poor white trash. He was like, they look like more like slaves to me than me. So catch that little bit. It was kind of thoughtful on Dane's part. And that's why we're trying to tell people that this thing of taking 12 years a slave, where the girl goes crazy when they sell their children away, which is kind of telling you, how can you believe something like that? How many people could you do this to, and you making everybody go crazy and you want them to be productive? And we have cases where people would leave one plantation to go to another one. They don't want to tell you that happened too. They don't want to tell you the amount of melanated people, the sharecrop before the Civil War. As I said before, 90% of the skilled labor before the Civil War were melanated people. Since when is skilled labor slaves? So I want to give Brother Dane those props. I thought it was very good that he did it. I am having an issue of rejection in a Facebook group. Usually when I feel deeply rejection, there's a attachment there that's not for me. What's your thought? It's a little painful. I'll share this, and I don't think my brother would mind me sharing this. Like, my brother really enjoyed when the push, I would say my brother had a lot to do with the push to push out the Pan-Africans up in New York. And I hope my brother's not offended, because I'm not going to try to say anything offensive, but he had a hand in that. But it was the whole group of them, Carl Mayo, Chief. It was a bunch of them that was just attacking them New York dudes all the time. And I looked at that thing and I saw, like, I'm like, they just want to get them positions. That's kind of set up. Plus, the dudes who did it was all ex-Israelites who was jumping on the bandwagon of the indigenous. So I saw it before my brother saw it. I saw it for what it was. I'm like, these dudes just want them spots. This ain't nothing real. These is people that want them spots. And they've got an ulterior motive, and I saw the motive. So I apply that to what, if something's giving you a funny feeling, but you really enjoy it, you have to look at it. Even though you enjoy it, is it good for you to enjoy? I guess would be my thing. So if you're feeling some kind of weird out, or if you're getting attacks, now, if you can fight off the attacks and it's something you want to pursue, is something. Here's another one. The Awakened one, what is her? Awakened one has a Facebook group on there that they took over. They completely took over. They pushed her out. She created this group, and it has thousands and thousands of people. I'm part of the group. I'm one of the moderators. They kept sending me to let people in, and eventually that even got cut off. But they completely blocked her out of her own creation. And other people are trying to make money off something she created. And she's kind of given up on it, because Facebook did take it, or people took it over, and Facebook allowed it. So if it's giving, if there's something negative there, run away from it. I mean, it just depends. I mean, if it's something that you enjoy doing, but if you have to kind of be dominant, then show your dominance. But if you're getting a weird feeling and you don't really want to dominate it, then I'd leave it alone. So find out which one you want. Is it worth fighting for? And do you want to be dominant over it? If it's worth being dominant over, go for it. But if it's not, you're getting that funny feeling, let it move away. Some type of slave movie, HBO, they want to keep you on that low vibration all the time. Thinking that's all. I mean, they were saying, the Americas, there was like Columbus went in, there's no reading and writing. And these readings and writings, this stuff right here is thousands of years old. So they knew. They tried to cover it up. I mean, they really tried to Fahrenheit 451 what they did in South America. That movie was about South America, that they destroyed all the writings in South America, the Spanish, the Catholics. And as we are here basically for these is more Catholic than Christian holidays. These is more Catholic holidays. where, as I said last night, the Presbyterians said what the Catholics teach is that the Catholics worship the negative. That's what Presbyterians tell you. Or yeah. Protestants, excuse me, Protestants. I had to say white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. Protestants said that the book and what the Catholics worship is the negative. They worship the negative. They worship the thing that they created called the devil, because they created the devil. They created that too. They created Jesus and they created the devil. They created both of them. They created the twins and that negative aspect. Again, Cain and Abel, it's the same thing. So what are we really celebrating? Lindsay, I saw that video. I think the clip came from the movie Goodbye Uncle Tom. Yeah, Goodbye Uncle Tom, the dub version. Yeah, Goodbye Uncle Tom. Yeah, let me write that down so I'll try to catch the full movie. And I'll say this, they mentioned something in there about Indians. They mentioned something in there about Indians. And I had read this, years ago. The problems that they started having when they started taking people off the islands, or even when they took people from the coast, because North Carolina got hit hard. Well, they were doing a lot of coastal snatching. That's really how the British that came on the East Coast, they would at first just try to snatch people. And even the French and even the Spanish, as they came, they would snatch people like that, do coastal snatching. But what they were finding, that, and they say this in the movie, they were like, a lot of times when we move these people, like if we take people from the islands or from America, like North Carolina, and take them to the islands, a lot of times the people can't produce. They don't want to produce, they can't produce. And the same thing, they would take people from the islands and try to take them over to Spain, and it would be many generations before the people became comfortable. That's why they would take children, because they were finding out that when they would take, like when Columbus took people back, when they were taking adults, the adults wouldn't flourish. So that's where they got into taking children, because when they took adults, the adults wouldn't multiply. I think Columbus took 20 people and only 4 or 5 survived the original first trip, because Columbus actually started the slave trade by taking people to Spain, because when they didn't find all the gold they were looking for, they were like, well, Columbus's mind liked slavery. So that's where that came from. But that's in the movie too. Yeah. HBO ain't been shit since the 90s, other than the magic show. Hey, Olito, thank you for joining. Yeah, I hope that helped. I hope that helped, Vanetta. See right here, this is Vanetta, and I have Valerie. My mind, like, so thank you both for being on. Thoughts on Harlem Hellfighters? Now, are you talking about the Harlem Hellfighters that fought in World War I? Is that what you're talking about? If you're talking about that, yeah, if you're talking about the Harlem Hellfighters from World War I, the way they did us dirty is, they kept us segregated, and then we went over that. If that's what you're talking about, I'll ramble a little bit on the World War I. Again, they were under French units, and they saw a lot of action in some cases before the American units did, because one thing Pershing really didn't agree to being under European command. One thing Pershing wanted the whole time was that his troops were always going to be under his command, except the colored troops. The colored troops were under French command, and if you go back and watch. So let's see if that's what you're asking. So if that's what you mean, and they saw action in some cases before the Europeans would see action, and they showed they was brave. And can you imagine living through Jim Crow and all of a sudden you get to kill Europeans? and you get good at killing Europeans and everything they've taught you, and bravery. And as I showed that video of my ancestor carrying, being fired at and carrying the flag and the rushing of Fort Wagner, I mean, that's bravery. And that's, I mean, brainwashing too. I mean, damn, if I want a flag, you know, to carry this flag instead of having a rifle, I think your chances are a little better. So, but if that's what you mean, and I've got into it again, you know, the way they murdered these people because they were afraid of them. They were definitely afraid of those troops as they came back. So I'll see your answer to see if that's what you mean. But bravery, because if you look at the propaganda and what they were telling people how we wasn't smart, we couldn't learn, we were scared of everything and lazy. But they knew that anytime we fought in wars, we were very brave people. And war is nothing but going forward or flanking, but not retreating or strategically retreating. And that's where we know that we see that World War II couldn't be real, where Hitler leaves a whole army in Russia. Who would do that? No, you strategically retreat. So, and them not wiping them people out of Dunkirk. I remember when they came out with that movie, 12 Years a Slave. I didn't watch it at the theater. I would never watch it on stream or TV. I'll tell you what's interesting and what they show a couple different things. They show the girl go crazy when they took her children. She couldn't be a productive person. So that tells you that that couldn't have been going on. Because if that did that over and over again, you don't have productive people. But the biggest thing they tell you is they tell you they took free people that lived in the North and would take them like to the slave areas of Virginia or Maryland, because it wasn't a lot of it. They did not need the Africans. Africans didn't know anything about the land over here. I mean, you have to have some people kind of knowledgeable. No, you just go out there and pull stuff up. Diet's different. They want to tell you we like pig intestines because that was the last of the foods. You know, we couldn't get the good food, so we ate that kind of foods. Don't Mexican people, Latinos eat chitlins too? They call it something else. So you know, that's a lie. There's a lot of people around the world that do eat pig intestines, so that's a lie. So to say that we didn't eat well, you don't eat well, you can't work well. So so there's a couple points in it. But he was skilled. The guy said on Indian never been asleep. He said that while showing a clip of an elderly lady that looked like she would be a grandma. Yeah, the Indian won't sleep. They won't work for you. They would refuse to work. They are really pushing these transgenders commercials, the commercial in sports, the commercials that, you know, they want to push your children. That's why I was saying, even my son is gay and my 16-year-old daughter is gay. My son, there's a lot of, again, my son is special needs. Yeah. But he found somebody he's functional with. I'll say that. My daughter, when she revealed it, it was the thing to do. It was popular, and I saw it as a popularity contest. And when she first told me, I'm like, how are you going to have children? Now, my sister is also gay. I haven't seen my sister in over 20 years. My father's family, I don't really deal with them. They don't really deal with me. I'm like the black sheep or whatever, because I bust their ass out. I bust my parents out. You want to talk shit about me? I was like, okay, what's about this? My father and my stepmother. And they were not very happy about that. They don't like being confronted with some shit. But my sister, she married another lawyer. They adopted a child, which is cool, but it doesn't push your bloodline on. That person ain't related to the person, related to the person, related to the person, related to the person. I mean, so it stops at you, and you're a woman. It stops at you. And the same, I said, my daughter, she said the same thing with my sister. You know, I can adopt a child, and okay, but that ain't pushing me forward. So again, it stops with you. But I saw my daughter's more popularity contest. My son, several kind of things that I think led to. But yes, they are. Was Columbus Aboriginal? It appeared like, I know Dane put that picture and they showed more of a darker person, but he's the Portuguese. What do they call them? Azazi Jews. Is that what they call it? But Portugal. He's from Portugal. The only reason they say he was Italian is because the first European that stepped on land was a Jewish faith person. And you got the first person that took a ship over there, which he tells you in his own, if you study his journals, they saw a ship sunk going over there. So they knew about it. If you read, they came before Columbus, there's a good part of it in talks about Don Juan, and they already knew the maps and had the maps. If you read between the lines, you know, they knew about the lands here. So no, he appears to be from Portugal, which they wasn't all pasty looking either. And he was Jewish faith as well. That's why don't take the thing that Isabella and Fernando paid his way. No. She put all their asses up out of there. He went to them slightly before Inquisition. And then under Inquisition, I think he was hiding that he was one of them. And they didn't say. But they did not pay for his first trip. They did not pay. Jewish faith people were looking for somewhere to go because, again, she put her foot in their ass and she put her foot in the Moors' ass. Both of them. She was fighting both of them. But to tell you, you know, little of real history in Spain, I want to say there was probably more Jewish faith people in Spain than there were Moors. The Moors were pretty much pushed all the way to Grenada. And then once El Zagag, the younger El Zagag, once he broke with his uncle, he took his army and then he went into, I want to say he went into France, where the Jewish faith people blinded him and held him for a number of years. So no, he wasn't. He would not have been. Yes, that's the one. Okay, yeah. It just shows that we were. And they knew we were brave in the Revolutionary War. They knew we were brave in the Civil War. So yeah, but we were done dirty. But it's just funny how sometimes, even though you're done dirty, it works out in your benefit. Because I believe if they would have been under American control, they would have probably, you know, with that trench welfare and stuff, they were kind of, in some ways, in more of the aggressive open fighting in a lot of ways, where they were fighting behind embankments and not really in the trenches. So they got a chance to kind of fight embankment kind of war. And over again, you saw them being the difference in the French defeating Germans. And so a lot of them are highly decorated. But the sadness, as I talk about, we had 87 to 90 soldiers killed in their uniforms because they were definitely afraid of these people. They trained 300,000 melanated people, which they knew had to hate them by now, even though you're fighting for them, even though they went over there and they had the same problem in World War I they had in World War II. Them chicks over there like the brothers, the American brothers. They like the style. They like the jazz. And the same thing in World War I, where they was, you know, if you grew up in the South, you never messed with European chicks. They found out over there the European chicks liked them. They found out in World War I. A lot of times, a lot of them would get murdered because they heard that. And so they would go to wherever they went, that they went back into sharecropping or in the Jim Crow South, they would murder. But it was, you know, as I said before, to understand the full history and how dirty they did us, they were so afraid. Now, I know a lot of people say it was close to 1 million brothers during World War II. And the brothers, but a lot of the brothers that fought in World War II was the children that turned into Panthers, was the children that turned into hippie generations, you know, the baby boomers, which started in 1947. So they had fathers that really a lot of times wasn't afraid of them because they fought them. You know, they fought them. So I think that was kind of a throwback from World War I. But yeah, so they knew they were brave men. So all these things of being lazy and not being brave, and that hurt the myth in the Jim Crow South. Here you are seeing soldiers that are brave when you're telling to keep your thumb on the people in the Jim Crow South, you've got to tell them that they really ain't nothing, can't amount to nothing. So that got blown away when you seeing these brothers in these suits and not that when they got all these pins on them and medals. And the Hellfighters, all of them, look at pictures of them, they all pinned up. Some of them got the highest, like the what is it, the Medal of Honor. Some of them got the equal of Medal of Honor over there during World War One. So the Frank James incident got them dudes down the street shuttling in their website to operating with the feds, cooperating with the feds. That doesn't surprise me. But see, that was probably an attack on them in some ways too, because he was spewing a lot of what they were saying. But again, he was saying that, and that story makes no sense. What dude is going to be like, hey, the way y'all describing some stuff, that sound like me. Do you want me to come on down there and see if it's me? And he was like, hey, Crime Stoppers, they're like talking about a dude that sounded a lot like me. I'm looking at the picture and I was wearing some shit like that yesterday. I didn't shoot nobody, but I was wearing that shit. Y'all looking for me? Who does that other than a psyop? And normally, I think we all thought like OJ. OJ knew they was going to kill him. So OJ, even though it was an event, it would have been easier for them to kill OJ. I think part of OJ's act was, yeah, okay, let's get some attention on some more eyes on me so these motherfuckers don't kill me. So that's just the odd, yeah, but it's they did it themselves. The invention, the first invention in this country was melanated people, slaves, and free people. Alexander Graham Bell, melanated slave, was the true inventor of the telephone. I'll agree partly, because as I said this either this week or last week, we find the same lines, it went miles, and these lines, put the cans together. Well, they found that in Peru. I said a more advanced thing is the mirrors, is be like, hey, I need to speak to 8 Wind, or I need to speak to 6 Turtle, or 5 Rabbit. Like, hey, 5 Rabbit, what's up, man? What's up? When you look at your mirror, call me. And then 5 Rabbit would look at his mirror and I'd be hearing 5 Rabbit's voice. So that's the kind of technology that America had. So the phone was a little behind that. Again, it would take a lot to keep that. It really would take a lot to keep that kind of technology and knowing going, but they killed it all. But the same time, this is the only reason why I'm going to disagree with you, because the same time Alexander Graham Bell, he put his patent in 2 hours before. No, it was another dude, because Bell couldn't get his phone to work. It was a guy out of Germany that had the same idea. They put their patents in within hours. Graham got his in first. So another guy in Germany had also kind of invented it. Now we know with the light bulbs, we know that Latimer has 2 light bulbs that are still going. Because Edison had problems with filaments. So Latimer invented a filament that never failed. And let me see, there's a fire station in New York. The last I knew, it's been on for 100 years. And it's with Latimer's filament. There's another one with Latimer's filament in San Francisco, I think at another fire department, where these lights have been on almost 100 years because the filament was made that well. And I think they had to come by, they didn't want light bulbs to last forever. They want things to break down. So, hey, there he is, Conspiracy University. No, yeah, you know how they do them peoples do me, Slade, there you go. I remember when one of my older sisters acted out of pocket, I called her they should have called them book They Were Here Before Columbus. They were here before. Yeah, they should have called it They Were Here Before Columbus. Exactly. There's a movie, let me see. There's a movie about, what's this? There's a movie about the persecution of the Jews in Spain called The Days of the Wrath, starring Christopher Lancaster of the movie The Highlander. What's that movie? The Days of the Wrath. I have to look at that. That was a big thing when I was little. That was a big thing. When I was little, Inquisition and showing them putting people on the rack. It was like every other movie, black and white movie, was about the Inquisition. And I mean, they was putting it boot to ass. And I'll say this, I saw very few movies as a child that where they was putting boots to the Moors' ass. It was always the Jewish faith people, because they would always have them dressed like that, the nose, but it was always the Jewish faith people. They was like putting boot to ass. They'd have them tied up in the rack, or they put them where, they close it and all them spikes is there, and you slowly gonna die because you got to stand perfectly still. And once you start sagging, them spikes start sticking your butt. But thank you. Thank you. Yes, man. The key word is man. It's like quantum of science or quantum of consciousness was saying that when did they come up with the Homo sapiens sapien? I remember last time I had a debate with one of my relatives, and it's funny how cats 63 on up, my uncle included, they are so brainwashed with believing in European science and believing the Black history African narrative. It is so embedded. It's like it's embedded in their bones. And I'll sit there like, well, where is so-and-so from in your family? They're from here. And where's so-and-so from? And they're from here. Did any of them tell you this? Or did you learn this in school? Because he was indoctrinated in the same school system I was indoctrinated in. Exact same school system. When I was about in fourth, fifth grade. I want to say I was in fifth grade. We had the first time they showed the Black African kind of, my elementary school had a history day. And I remember somebody had a picture of this is I was in fifth grade, and someone showed a picture of Malcolm X, and they had dotted where all the buckshots had hit him. They had taken the black and white newspaper clipping and showed where all the buckshots hit him. Like they first did it in pen, then they wrote over it in red. I thought, I was like, that's pretty macabre. But that's when it started. So I must have been in fifth grade in, let me see, 72, third, fourth, fifth. Yeah, 72. So started coming really heavy in 72. And if you listen to Richard Pryor, he talks about, pushing that African stuff in the 50s, coming around, pushing that African narrative. Because it's a land grab. It's a total land grab. We don't want reparations. We want the land. As I said before, okay, you give us reparations, you know what they're going to do? It's going to be more used cars, lots around the hood, more people selling fake, cheap jewelry, more TV shops pop up. All these businesses that's just for consumers. That's what would happen. All these consumer things, not anything to make the money last. I don't think I'm going to tell this. I'll tell some of it. Dang, I don't even want to tell this. Kind of torn. I'm really torn. How will I even start? No, I'm not going to tell that part. I'll say this, though. I'll say this. I won't tell my experience, but I'll say this. If they gave everybody $1 million, all the melanated people, sadly, it would not take us out of the conditions we in today. It would not. It would make things worse in a lot of ways. It would make things worse. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm working for them, but I'm saying from what I've experienced, it would not change things like you would think they would. It would not change the generational wealth, because what would happen in reality is the people getting the money would spend the money up. Case after case, you would see the majority of people making bad investments, bad buying decisions, and it would not change the conditions. Because right now, people think that if we get reparations, the melanated people, that it's going to change the generational wealth gap. When in practice, it wouldn't. Because the people who initially get the money would not make it last. enough to pass it down through generations. The people would spend it all. And so, yes, you would see about 20 years of a difference, but after those 20 years, you would see the same poverty. So say the parents was able to buy the house, in 20 years, you would be seeing children that couldn't pay the taxes, couldn't keep the houses up. And you would see people going back to the projects or the areas where, you know, the most melanated people live together. It would not change it like people think. I'll say that. Never shop with those people again. Funky that's nothing. I agree that Dave Chappelle shit told it all. They would spend it back with them peoples. Yeah, exactly. All these fake little consumer businesses, more tennis shoe things. You don't think Jordans, and look at okay, take this. You don't think inflation would jump? Look how bad inflation is now because they're paying everybody $15 to $20. Just imagine they give everybody that much money. Do you know the price of inflation would go up? Even worse? Because they would say, hey, y'all rich, y'all all millionaires. You can afford it. You can afford it. So people don't look at reparations as a social experiment, and then they don't play that social experiment in their heads. Definitely aren't able to experience. But if you just look at the social experiment and look at the people that you would see, and just imagine what the money would not really change them, not in the ways that it's professed. It would not put generational wealth in there. Because if you got people that never had money, they go through money. I mean, they pour water. It's like you pour water on a plate, and the people that ain't used to having money, they pour the water right off the plate. And $1 million, even if they don't tax the $1 million, how long do you really think $1 million is going to last? If you want a decent house, I mean, like around here, the houses around me is $200,000 to $300,000. And you go another block, they go up about $500,000 to $600,000. You go around the lake, they all $1 million houses. You only got 1 million. So even if you took a loan out for $1 million house and you owed $1 million on it, it's not going to change things like people think. A holistic and occult collective synergy is the only way melanated people are going to get out of these dysfunctional conditions. Yes. I'll even go further. It's all in here. I was listening to a beautiful sister on Facebook, and I hit her because she was believing in mud flood, and the thing is, don't believe in anything. Do more investigating. And I could tell her investigating the mud flood was limited, and trying to tie it into old America. I mean, it's just utterly ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. It really is. It's just ridiculous. But she said something that when she said it, this is the key. This is the key to away from all fear is don't be afraid of dying. I mean, that's the key. That's the only thing they can hold over us is that, wow, I've been going that long. Wow. Is the fear of dying is the biggest fear program they have. What have we just looked at this last year? What have we just looked at? The fear of dying. You have to do this because you could die. And so it was again, the fear of dying. One thing I hate about television the most, and I watch a lot of news and I watch the stock shows, is I'm seeing them St. Jude commercials. And them ain't nothing but straight hexes. And they want to put them hexes inside of you so you carry it to your children, showing these children. And that's another thing about them peoples. They some of the most begging rich people on the earth. Did you guys ever see them people's commercial? Well, there's some of them peoples that's poor over in this country. And hey, Anna, what did you eat today? Oh, I got to suck on this chicken bone I've had for 2 years. Them peoples is the most greediest. You guys see those commercials? They show that people's poor somewhere. It's like, Yeah, that we don't see that kind of poorness in America for y'all. So why ain't y'all taking care of them? Y'all take care of everybody else of them peoples around this world, but you saying there's a pocket of y'all that y'all don't take care of? I mean, it's just like it's St. Jude's. Why are you showing all these commercials begging for money when you getting money by the boatfuls? But you see their mentality is never enough. It's never enough. But what Edward said is right. Mentally, that's the only way to get out of this. Don't fear death. Look death in the face and say, okay. Look death in the face and say, okay, it's my time. As I said before, all that poison or radiation, okay, I'm not going to never do that because that's going to kill me spiritually. I put all that in there and I take enough medications, but putting that in you, you know that's going to wipe everything spiritually out of you. It's going to wipe a lot of your ancestral stuff out of you so you can live what is so good about living. I mean, if fear is all I hear almost every day, how is living good? And then this program we're in, how is this good for everyone? It's not. It's not good for everyone. But we see who needs this. They need this because there's nothing more for them but this. And if all of us say, hey, we don't fear this, we'll step out. They'd be left on this shit by themselves. And that would make them miserable. Because as I've said, the people they call aliens ain't really aliens anymore because they've been here forever. So they ain't really aliens. They got generations that's been here. But they need this. Non-humans too. They want to be famous. So they need this. They want the stage. So you're right, Brother Edward. We would be in the museums. That's history repeating itself again. There you go. You have to be able to keep it in the community, and unfortunately, don't value themselves or businesses. Exactly. I mean, what do you see on Facebook time and time again? People asking me, "Can I get a hookup?" Everywhere I go, I try to bargain with people everywhere I go. Especially I buy jewelry. I'm like, wait, I know what this says, but hey, somebody else, come on, manager, come over. I mean, I haggle with people no matter where I go. Like, shoot. Yep. And that's what integration did. Integration ruined keeping our money in the community. That's what integration. They wanted to no, come spend with us. And they act like they didn't want our money, but secretly they did. Secretly they did. Not long at all. Spending goes fast. Exactly. Exactly. Spending goes. I mean, I'll say out of all the money that I hustle with, the only really thing I can look back and say that I really still have is the house that my sons grew up with. I mean, that's the one thing that I put money into that's still there. Now, even though I chose to move out of it and the judge said I only deserved $1 and no child support taken off, but that was okay. My sons got to grow up in the same place. And money is just as addictive as the drugs was. Money becomes because you get addicted to the lifestyle of spending money, not the lifestyle of really saving and buying real assets. Other than gold coins too. Occult, psychological, political, re-educated, urgently needed to get melanated people out of the messed up and dire and dysfunctional conditions that they've been in. When you're fearless, you can accomplish anything. I would say, yeah. Sally Struthers. Who was it? Mad TV used to make such fun of Sally Struthers because she was kind of heavy set. It was like little Arnold hasn't eaten in 2 days, and then Mad TV was going, and she would have like be eating a muffin or something and wouldn't even give it because like maybe it was some crumbs or something, and little Arnold would go reach for the crumbs, and Sally Struthers would like, this is Mad TV, would step on his hand, wouldn't even let him get the crumbs, but she's begging you to send money. Yeah, exactly. Oh. Hey, Tyler. There is no topic. I'm talking about a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything. There's never a topic, Tyler. I kind of, the Magbone likes the name too. There's really never no topic. Right now, we was just talking about how them peoples still beg for money, and they got all the money and got all the television and everything, and they still on TV begging for money. It's like it's never enough. Mm. Mm. I like tobacco probably too much. That tobacco comes in, it's like the just woo, just gives you the most common kind of thing. Then Living Color was the original to be making fun of her. Okay, Living Color made fun of her too. Okay, that could be. Maybe I'm getting them mixed up, but I knew one of them used to make fun of her. So, I am gonna cut it in a minute. Do want to send out some energies though, since it is a full moon. I do want to send out these energies. So, if you want to sit and enjoy the energies. I want them to, okay. Hiding behind my name. Oh, excuse me. So I'll go with the perfect fifth. Give that to you. Oh, there we go. Give it to you. This one might work better. Not getting those react. Here we go. And this would be 512C. There we go. The auto is killing the sound. Oh. I want you to see it and feel it. And this is B480. This is A426. This is G384. It's bouncing off the window. Oh, wow. Wow, that was cool. The sound just evenly both directions. Wow, that was really cool. This is F341 frequency. Oops. Whoa, you got a lot to give. Thank you. And this is B3E320. Whoa, wow. 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 That was D280, 286. And this is C256. Wow. Sound is bouncing off everything. Thank you. Yeah, these aren't gonna. Yeah, I can't get the perfect fifth to play loud enough. Yeah, the auto is killing most of the sound. It travels in my hand, but it's not traveling out. Oh, there's a little bit of it. Okay. Perfect fifth is looked at as the perfect symphony for healing. Like if you was to hear the universal sound. And so the perfect fifth is considered 136 hertz. 136 is a combination, I think, of G and F. But how this would help you, and movies show this too. Movies show this. And so a lot of times when you move through, you go through the ethers, and I mean, when you really get deep in it, you'll start hearing a rush of different frequencies and sounds. And so sometimes if you just start spinning or you're going through too fast, you'll miss the sounds. You'll miss the sounds because, again, and a lot of times when you go astro ethers, not too many people are going to use the czar the way I use it, but there are sounds you will hear too. You could even you could almost use the sound in some instances as a vehicle. Like you would hear the sound and you could technically ride on the sound, kind of like in Tron, how they were showing that they could ride on the lights. You could almost ride on the sounds in the very same way. You could hear the sound, or you'll catch the pulse, and you could jump on the pulse, and the pulse will take you too far, and then you might end up taking the sound. I mean, it's a lot of ways that, because at first when you start tapping into this, you really just human nature is the visual perception that comes when you open all this up. You get all that calcification, and it's just the visual is how it's going to come to you first, where most people won't pay attention to what they hear, because we're just used to using and depending on our eyes so much. As I said before, sometimes I get so deep, I've had to wear blindfolds, or just sleeping masks, because my eyes will want to push up because I've seen everything, and my eyes are wondering why I'm seeing things, but I'm not using them. And I mean, literally, your eyes will try to force the muscles open because you're seeing things, but you're not using your eyes. And your eyes will actually try to force themselves open because the psychology that goes into your vision is on, but you're not using this. So just wanted to give those good frequencies out. Oh, wow, I'm over 2 hours. Wow. Well, I think that's long enough. I just wanted to give these sounds out on this beautiful pink moon day. Goes into the color of the flowers. That's kind of why they call this the pink moon. And so the key is to work on, self. The key is to work on self. And the key is to overcome fears. Now, we all got to do what you got to do. There's no doubt of that. I love what Edward said, is, he took that condition because it blended in, and that he was strong enough to overcome whatever was in it. That is absolutely true. We can all do that. I mean, again, I take a bunch of stuff. So that's why they trip out, because they were like, well, you've taken everything else we put up there, but you don't want this. Well, at least the Republicans say it's your choice. I did it, but it's your choice. That's what the Republicans say. It's your choice, which it should be. And sometimes silence is the best way to move. I understand that. Like when they struck down my other channel, it had nothing to do with saying yay or nay of it. I just said what my doctor said. I repeated what she told me her colleague said. And they took down a channel that's been up since 17. Actually 14. That channel had been up since 14. I started streaming at 16, 17. So they took all that stuff down, all the music I had saved all those years to help rise my vibration. I couldn't tell you all the people I've subscribed to then. I've tried to, in a year and a few months, tried to build that up, but there's so many people I've forgotten that I can't follow the good work. Hey, SD, how your Red Sox doing? But we can only move on. And I thank you for the people that have helped me. I appreciate it. I mean, however, if you want to do the super chats, or you could help out with the Cash App, I usually leave it in one of my videos. I appreciate it. Because I've saved, it helped. I've saved a lot, and I have improved my life a little bit. Gary L. Jr., the Black Sox video was great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he flubbed that ball on purpose. Yep. Will always censor the truth. There you go. And there were some deep things I had on there. I had the Awaken one, Tasha, and Tasha would probably do the shows again. So I am working on, as I said, I've went over one hurdle recently, and so I have a couple more hurdles to get across. I'm still stuck on, do I fix my computer? Do I buy another computer and get the equipment really been having problems with the microphones lately. So and this thing I bought, this Mano, has never worked for me. I mean, it's never worked. It works sporadically. Hooked it up to this system, still doesn't work consistently. Some nights it works, some nights it doesn't. But I'm going to plow through that. I do want to take so, you know, even having the channel removed, still going to upgrade the equipment. So thank you for bearing with me, because this presentation I know isn't the greatest. I think I found, because, and I know it's personal style, but I found, where's my thing? Because what I really would like to put, and I know this doesn't show it all, it's cut off from the picture, but I wanted to put this, they have this, you can get a giant picture of this, and I wanted to put this behind me just because I love both of these dudes. And I know Ali was a sellout, but Joe was one of the last warriors. And I know it shows the black on black crime, but Joe was a warrior. Joe wasn't really compromised in the way Ali was. Joe was a warrior. Joe was willing to die for what he believed in, and he damn near did. You look at his first fight, I mean, his face is literally beaten almost to a pulp, like he's almost unrecognizable. His face is beaten so bad. And he almost died that night. And that's not them trying to fix it. He took such a beating. They let these men beat on each other. And it took a lot away for both of them. I think Joe Frazier died at 63. You saw the condition that Ali died in. Now, they did a lot of other things to Ali because they were afraid of Ali retiring and having time to talk. So that's the first thing they attacked on him. And, you know, bad money management. He was kind of forced to fight Larry Holmes when he was way past his prime. And they were so afraid of Ali when he fought Larry Holmes, that's when they gave him what later turned into Parkinson's. But Ali shot his hands up with steroids for probably 20 years. And that's why his hands are like this when he's only in his 70s. Ali is like my dad's age. My dad, or he would have been my dad's age. My dad just turned 79. Ali would have been 79 had he lived. But you see his hands, and that's what shooting steroids in his hand, painkillers. That's what they did. So the divination tonight is Khan. And Khan is, the common usage would be seed, corn, or iguana. The qualities would be seed, seeding, manifestation, self-germination, creation, fertile ground, gestation, opening, erupting possibilities, acting on inspiration, initiative, creative ideas, and developing confidence. The symbol is well-rooted seeding, solar plexus. The number is 4, measures and cycles. The color is yellow. That's why I'm wearing yellow. Herb is sunflowers, dandelions. Flowers is buttercups. We used to eat buttercups when I was little. Pick them and then suck the sweet out of them. Flower essence is bow tree. Scents are clover. Stones are citrine, golden calcite, golden tiger's eye. It's a fire element. Direction is from the south. The shadow wisdom is fear, feeling of insecurity, limiting new possibilities with routine, choosing to remain safe at the expense of awakening and growth. Say that again. Choosing to remain safe at the expense of awakening and growth. Lack of confidence. But the way you can transform it is realize that you and your life are the fertile ground and that you awaken your dreams and possibilities. Free yourself from the illusion of safety as you enter the manifestation of emerging possibilities. The harmonic wisdom will be the progression of the sound. And the mantra, let's see if I can do this. So hands over each other at the solar plexus. So one hand over the other at the solar plexus, as if holding a seed. So kind of like this. Then opening your hands and offering seed to your life. So it would be open your hands and then saying, I am the fertile ground. So it's like holding the seed, then opening it and saying, I am the fertile ground and the self-generating, germinating seed of possibilities. And then the meditation, I am the Badai Mandala, the seed of possibility of erupting. So I hope that helps everyone. Hope that helps everyone going forward. The color tomorrow of manifesting is yellow. I mean, yeah, the rest of the day as you carry on your day. And because of the moon energy, this is a great time to have all these possibilities. So, hey, Marcus the Great, did you catch the Spence fight? Yeah, I see dude's eye was like, you know how Steve Harvey said the joke, you know, what was it? Oh God, what was the funny guy? Blood. Oh, what was his name that Mike Tyson hit coming out of what's the dude who made the patterns of the Gucci patterns and stuff? They were coming out of his shop. Blood Green, Mitch Blood Green, you know, and got his eye all blowed out. And that's how dude looked tonight. But Spence did get tagged when he spit off the mouthpiece. Spence did, you could see where that fight with the little dude really, and he got tagged a lot. He got tagged a lot when he fought what's the little guy? Thurman. When he fought, was it Thurman? No, Keith, not Keith Thurman, the other guy. When he fought him, that took a little bit out of him. So time catches up with fighters. Time catches up with fighters. And if that's, I don't know, it's something there with that mouthpiece thing. So it was, I mean, he beat his ass, which we all knew. I wonder how much their pay-per-view numbers did. The pay-per-view numbers is next week. And I think that's even on ESPN Plus. I think it's ESPN Plus pay-per-view. So I'm not going to pay for that crap. I didn't pay today. So I'm going to read this and definitely. So I will leave everybody with the time walking words of Moro. And I am thinking about starting classes on teaching some of the time walking information and how to apply it. So I'm looking at putting that together. So if those interested in this kind of thing, and which encompasses like a lot of what I teach about this, but really getting into it where you can apply it to your life and not just a little bit of ways I hit on it, really just sticking, like have a class, no sports, just the spiritual part on how to get over these spiritual hurdles. Instead of starting another channel, I think I can use this channel and just hold something, I guess, where people can join and then start teaching it as people join like that. So I guess that would be the better thing than trying to completely start another channel. So it all starts with a gentle sadness, but I've taught a lot for free. I really have. I mean, I give freely and I'm still going to give freely. So, but I guess there is more I could put out there even. So it all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland and they knew that they had an exact number of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and a lifestyle, which are called civilization builders. But they would turn the civilization into a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the great serpent, which is our Milky Way. And so the thing that it's teaching you is, okay, you say this stuff is out here. We do not need a spaceship to move through it, to really experience it. That's why I say any of us can go to space. You just really have to work through meditating. That is the way, that's the proper way to find out, because it's the void that you want to feel comfortable in, not the blinding light, because the blinding light is that it's blinding. So how are you going to move through something that's blinding? You know, when I go into primal waters, I am encased in all the primal waters. I want everything encased in the original water, the original primal water. I want to be encased of that. And as remember, all out there watching, as you treat others, remember, I am another yourself. I'm another yourself. And so tonight, as you rest well in your creation ball field, which they want to tell you and show you it's a coffin bed. No, rest well in your creation ball field. And may your dreams take you as high as you want to. And may you be protected by everything that you've put around you. May it protect you. May it be more than enough to protect you because you put it around there. If you have not made any agreements, none of this shit can really bother you because you've not agreed for it to bother you. So know that when you're there, that you are safe. And I'll even shoot you extra energy. And in closing, love just is. It just is. Love just is. So this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. I've been your super funky host. Super cool, super smooth. I still have to get out of the habit. People be like, how you do it? I'll be like, I'm smooth. I had to get out that habit. It's just comes so easy to say. So till we meet again, we'll be on tomorrow, midnight tomorrow. Probably have a breakdown of the games. If it's something to expose, I'll definitely expose it. No, Brother Lobo, he'll get to expose it. He'll expose it too as well. So you can kind of look to get a little both because it's going to be football and basketball. Basketball counts a little more. So, all right, say less.